Hello and welcome to Spicy Toast Gaming and our Lux guide for Path of Champions. If you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. We're just starting out here on YouTube, and that would mean the world to us. Alright, let's get into the video. Alright, first things first, we're going to do a brief overview of the champion so you can kind of get a feel for if this champion would be right for you if you want to spend your shards somewhere else. So we do a pro, con, and mixed list. Now the mixed is some aspects of the champion can be positive or negative based on your own personal preference, and so that's why we have that there. Alright, so starting off with the pros, not champ reliant. So if you've seen most of my guides, normally one of the cons that they all have is that they really rely on their champion. Lux is definitely not that way. In fact, normally I could play Lux for that 5 mana, or that's the same round that I could win the game if I just was playing spells and didn't worry about playing Lux. So she's often actually slows your game down. So if you wanted a deck you didn't have to worry about the champion, then this is a great deck for you. That being said, you can still play Lux and still have a lot of fun and have her carry games for you. So you can still use her, so it's not like a deck that you don't need the champion. You just don't have to play her if you don't want, and you can still win just fine. Alright, next, consistent. Lux is very consistent. She's a very strong win condition that she can pull off every game. And so no matter who you're going up against, you can pull out wins consistently, even against the hardest adventures in the game. Next is rallies. Lux deck has a ton of rallies in there from her star powers, and so you can be attacking 3-4 times in a single round, and so that can be a lot of fun. You're actually attacking a lot. So even though it is a deck that definitely focuses on spells, you're actually attacking a lot with your units. Alright, next, very combo focused. So we'll go into this a little bit later, but there's a specific combo you're doing on Lux to be able to win. It's always around that 5 mana mark normally, and you're just being able to play spells and then attack, rally, attack again, and you just destroy the enemy champion or the enemy fighters very quickly and consistently. But it does really focus on that combo, and so it can make it a bit old. Spells focus, like I said, with Lux you are refilling your mana every round the first time you play spells, and spells just kind of feed into every aspect of what you're doing for Lux. And so if you don't like spells focused gameplay, then probably don't want to have to bother with Lux. The one con, like I kind of alluded to with the combo focused, is it is very repetitive. You're kind of winning the exact same time every time. Doesn't really matter what the opponent does, what special modifiers they have. Generally your games play out the exact same way every single game. So it can be a lot of fun, but it can get old after a while, and so that is something to bear in mind. Alright, but that's it for this brief overview. We'll jump into the game now, take a look at Lux, her star powers, relics, and what cards you might want to cut when you're playing her in-game. Alright, so jumping in-game here, first we'll take a look at Lux. She's a 5 mana 3/5 with barrier, and then her level up condition is I've seen you play 6+ mana of spells, and then when I level up, I create a final spark in hand. One thing to note here is you don't have to play all this in one spell, so you can do a lot of smaller spells to still get that level up. It's not like Jace where you actually have to play a 6+ spell. So if you play a 6+ spell, it'll level her up immediately, but you don't have to do that all at once. So when she levels, she gets another attack and another health. And then again, when you play up to or over 6 mana of spells, you make another final spark. So what the final spark is, slow speed, 0 cost, and it's fleeting. But what this does is it deals 4 damage to an enemy, and then if there's no enemies, it deals 4 damage to the enemy nexus instead. This also has Overwhelm, so if you target an enemy that is less than 4 health, any of that extra damage will hit the enemy Nexus. Her champion spell is Prismatic Barrier, and that just gives an ally barrier for the round. So as you can see, you want to be playing spells once you have Lux on the board to be able to get those final sparks to remove the enemy units or just deal damage to the enemy Nexus itself. Alright, let's take a look at her star powers. So Lighting the Way, the rank 1 version of this is each round the first time you play a spell, refill your spell mana equal to its cost. So that means you can only get up to 3 mana because your spell mana is that 3 mana at the side there. So this is very nice, very helpful, but a little limiting because you're only going to get a maximum of that 3 mana. Her rank 2 is that +1 starting mana, and then when you play a 6+ mana of spells, so essentially the same thing as Lux's level up, doesn't have to be all in one spell, but just when you've played that much spell mana, or just mana for spells, creates a 0-cost Golden Aegis in hand. So what this is, you give one of your units barrier and you rally. Now this isn't fleeting and it costs 0 when it gets made, so you can have multiple of these in hands. So normally what you're going to do is you're going to hold on until you get 2, 3, even 4 of these, and then once you have enough units on the board, you're going to keep rallying and just completely destroying all the enemy units and the enemy Nexus all in one turn with attacking over and over and over again. Alright, so her rank 3, Lighting the Way Part 2. Each round, the first time you play a spell, refill mana equal to its cost. So this refills your spell mana, it refills your regular mana. You play a spell, it's just going to be completely refilled. So what you normally want to do is play a spell that's going to take as much mana as possible, so normally a 6 cost or more. You'll be able to play that and then get some Golden Aegis and level up Lux. So that is very useful, and so you want to be having a spell you can play each round since it'll be refilling your mana. Alright, looking at some relics for Lux. Now Lux is in an interesting place. Normally, like I mentioned before, the mana that you would take to play Lux, you could often use that to just win the game that round. So Lux can often be a very low tempo play, and it'll just cause the game to go on for an extra round. So normally when I'm playing Lux, I don't end up actually playing her because I just win before I would play her. So because of that, I have all passive relics on her. So these are ones that will be helping you even though you never play Lux. So some of the good ones is Heart of Gold. You just get 50% additional gold during adventures. So you always will be able to buy whatever you need, essentially. Gives you the Card Master's Gambit, giving you an extra reroll every game if you don't take any Nexus damage, which you normally won't. But then the Star Child Staff, if you are taking any Nexus damage, you're just going to be healing yourself and sustaining even more. Some good ones for Lux if you are actually planning on playing with her and having her in-game. The Archangel Staff can be nice. It is a little rough since you won't be able to get the benefit until you play her on turn 5, so you won't really get too much of that benefit, but it is something that's decent to have. Crown Guard Inheritance, so when you level up Rally, since you're already working on rallying a lot, that can really just give you another extra one to help finish off the game. Luden's Tempest, if you're wanting to go really into Lux and doing a lot of those final sparks, then Luden's Tempest just giving you a bit more damage can be very fun. The Troll King's Crown is definitely very nice. Normally with Lux, you're wanting to have a full board so you can attack with those rallies and really do a lot of damage. So just giving you all of your units Overwhelm can be very good. But these passive ones here work out very well for me, but there's many different ways to build her, so try out and experiment, and you'll have plenty of fun with that. Alright, the last thing I want to touch on is her starting deck. So what spells or units you really want to cut. So she has a pretty good deck, and often you just want to be cutting cards that you don't get any good items on. Now, early on in the game, Mageseek Inciter can be a little too expensive. It is good once you play that 6-cost spell, but can really struggle. Vanguard Sergeant is one you never want to cut, because being able to make the 4 Demasias is very good, especially if you're having bad draws and can't get any other big spells. This is definitely a card you never want to cut. You usually want to try to re-roll your opening hand to try to get as many of these as possible, because it just gives you units and starts proccing those rallies by spending that spell mana. And then if you just have the rank 1 star power, 3 mana is the most you can get refilled anyways, so essentially you can play these for free. Lorien Prodigy can be very good, but if you don't get any good items on him, you might just want to cut him and just focus on Vanguard Sergeant. Really, all of her cards are actually pretty decent. There's no real standouts you definitely want to cut. And then normally in a game, you just want to try to cut your support cards you just pick up along the way you don't really have a choice on. So normally cut those first, and then with Lux, it's much more of playing it by ear and just seeing which cards aren't really getting any good items on them that you might want to get rid of to focus on others. But unlike most champions, she actually doesn't have too many dead cards that you just want to cut every single game. Alright, so that's the in-game part of Lux. We'll hop back and look at some of the powers you can get in-game and which ones really elevate Lux to her full potential. Alright, so the powers for Lux you want to focus on in-game. Now, it's very simple. There's only these 2 powers that you really need to focus on that are just better than essentially everything else. So that is the Sorcery. Round start, you refill your spell mana. That is very good because then just in the first couple rounds, you're able to play a 6-cost spell. And then if you have her star powers leveled up, that's going to give you that rally right away and then completely refill your mana. So this one is very nice to have. The best one though, probably for Lux, is the Slow But Steady. When you play a slow speed spell, copy it onto the same targets. Now, by default, pretty much all of Lux's spells are slow. And so essentially making all of your spells both refill your mana and then also double up just gives you massive benefits. And one thing that you might not notice is the slow speed spells, when it gets duplicated, it also gives you another one of those golden Aegis in hand, so that barrier rally. So these 2 abilities are definitely the ones you want to try to get every round. If you're able to get these, Lux is absolutely unstoppable. These make her just so strong. And there's plenty other star powers that will help you out. And so play around with that, experiment, see what works well. These are the 2 that I just find are better than just about any other star power you can get in the game. So try to focus on these whenever you see them, and they will just elevate your Lux to just destroy anything in the field. Alright, that's it for the star powers, or not star powers, just powers you can find in game. Thank you so much for watching this video. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. We're just starting out here on YouTube, so we're trying to grow this channel. If you liked it, please like the video and comment what you did like about it. If there's something that you didn't like, definitely comment down below, and I'll be reading through all your comments and just trying to improve the channel. But thank you so much for watching. I hope I see you around the channel, and have a great day.